every week we will have someone different speaking, whether it's faculty member, a staff member, or a student. But today it's me. Our message or our theme for OMA this year is we're living in truth. And so that is a tough thing because oftentimes we're just doing our walk with God. We're just kind of doing it to go through the motion because we're supposed to, because mom said to, dad said to, whatever. But are we authentically living in truth? So today I kind of want to talk about intentionality. This is something big that our interns and board and OMA as a whole has brought up a lot about being more intentional about our walk with God. So God made our life for a certain reason. And so we have to live out that reason. What do you think that reason is? Well, because we need Him. So He puts these trials in your life because we need Him. And He wants us to know that we need Him. So I always say we can't mow over our struggles for the saving of our face. Otherwise, we mow over the saving grace. So we cannot get to the glory and the trueness of God because it makes us look better in public. We have to be intentional. We have to be true. We have to be genuine with God. So 2 Corinthians 12:9-10 says, "But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in my weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, and difficulties. For when I am weak, He is strong." That's powerful, right? Because we want to hide, we want to sweep ourselves under the rug. We don't want people to know that we're struggling with sin. We don't want people to know that we can't pay our bills. We don't want people to know that we're struggling with lust. We don't want people to know that stuff. But He said, when I am weak, that is when He is the strongest, and I will boast gladly about that, about what He can do, about the grace that He can give. I'll go on. 2 Corinthians 1:12 says, "Now this is our boast. Our conscience testifies that we have conducted ourselves in the world, and especially in our relations with you, with integrity and godly sincerity. We have done so, relying not on worldly wisdom, but on God's grace." So this thing today, and I meant to preface by saying, I'm not any pastor. I'm just trying to give you the word from God. There's no me. It's just God. So what I'm trying to say is I can have all this in the world. I can have the preaching tongue. I can have the breathing right when I preach. I can have all that. But none of that means anything more than God's grace. So I just have a couple of points I want to talk about with intentionality. One, don't do things for a show. God is not a show. Okay? God is real, and so you should be real. Walking with God is a genuine thing. So everybody knows the passage about love, like the love is patient, love is kind. Okay, I'm going to read you the real version because, we only read 4-8, but we don't read 1-12. So I'm going to read you 1-12. It says, "If I speak in tongues of men and of angels, but not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal." Has anybody been in band? Anybody ever been, or you just ever been around a cymbal that's just loud and clangy and crashy? Think about that. Think about hearing that all day. I'm not supposed to be preaching the softness and the meekness and the trueness of love, and all I hear is a clowning cymbal. We'll keep going. "If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have love, not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it is not envy, it is not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. And I like in the King James Bible, it says the incomplete disappears. So that means you can do all this ministering, you can give to the poor, you can go do mission trips here and there and everywhere, you can do all this service and servanthood for you and for the glory, but are you doing it for the glory? Because when you get to that gate, all that stuff is not going to matter. You're not going to have a resume. You're not going to have a CV. You're going to have you. And all that incompleteness will disappear, and he's going to see you. And he's going to ask you, what did you do? Were you intentional with me? Were you genuine with me? Did you have love? Because God is love. You haven't recognized yet. So don't do things for a show, because the show will come to an end. My next point is God is not an afterthought. He is the thought. Do you ever think about times when we make decisions and we're like, okay, I'm going to buy this red car today. God, please help me to get this red car. You see the misorder? Now let's try again. Lord, allow me to understand what it is I need in my life right now for transportation. You see that difference? We don't ask God for permission. The permission is already granted to us. So God is not an afterthought. Think about if he made you as an afterthought. Is your life an afterthought to God? All these intricate things that you go through in your life, whether it's good or bad, he planned this already for that greater purpose. He planned it strategically and intricately for you to get where you are today. So if he took the time to plan your life in this way, if he took the time to know how many hairs are on the top of your head right now, then why can't we take that same thought for God? The next thing, to make our life more intentional, renew your mind, your heart, and your spirit. The famous Romans 12:2 always says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So what does it mean to renew your mind? What does it mean when you change that subscription to the next subscription? When you update it, when you repay it. I'm just thinking about this Netflix account that keeps coming out and it keeps putting me in the negatives, but that's my own traumas. But think about, what do you do every morning to renew yourself? I know some of y'all, we listen to certain things on the radio, we watch certain things on TV, we hear our friends say certain things. That filtrates into our spirit, right? That settles in there. Now, are we putting that to death and starting the morning fresh and new? Or are we taking those deadly things with us and make it become of our spirit? So we have to clean our spirit. We have to stay intentional in cleaning our spirit. Our next thing is have integrity and humility. Now you think like, what does integrity and humility have to do with intentionality? Well, it just says, Philippians 2:14-15 says, do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without a fault, in a warped and crooked generation. That just means with everything, have heart. If you're going to give your tithes and offerings, do not do it if you're doing it because you're supposed to. Do it because you want to. Spend time with God because you want to, not because you're supposed to. This is about the being real now. This is about being genuine. We're not doing stuff for a show. We're not doing things to say, I'm a biblical person or I'm a holy person. We're doing it for real. Because I'm telling you, when you get to that gate, he's going to be real with you too. So if you're going to do stuff and you're going to grumble and you're going to whine and complain, guess what? Just don't do it. And find that heart of God. Find that intentionality with God. And my last thing is make your testimony genuine. I know we've all been through stuff. I know I have. I know the things that I share, whether it's my mental health, whether it's decisions I make, whether it's my family, whether it's incarceration, whether it's whatever. I have to make my testimony genuine, because if I never told you that portion of me, you would never know that portion of God. And this is why I keep saying you cannot stifle and mow over the struggles to save face because you mow over his saving grace. So I leave you with asking, are you being intentional? Are you hiding from the truths? And it's okay if you're not ready to open up to other people, but are you hiding from yourself? Are you living in your own type of lie to keep a face for you? Are you being intentional with God? Are you just doing things for a show because you're at a Christian university? Are you putting God first in your thoughts, or is he the afterthought? Are you renewing your mind daily, or are you still taking the same messages from the songs that you listen to, and from the movies that you watch, and from the people that you date, or the friends that you have? And do you have the heart of God, or are you doing it just because it's in a book? Think on that.